Changes in the environment since I've been here, yes, a lot. It's a lot of permafrost thaw, especially on our roads going back to our traditional areas where we go berry picking. Last year the road washed out. It just started a full-on creek. It washed the road out. We weren't able to use that for a full year, so we weren't able to berry pick back the road at all. There's a lot of erosion on the river. There's a lot. The channels are changing where we used to be able to just go fish and we know we're gonna catch fish. The channels are changing, so those areas aren't good for fishing anymore. So we have to go find new areas of where we think the fish will be good, then we try, and then there's a lot of logs underneath, and so it catches our nets and we tear them or we lose them.
For one thing, this spring, the water was so high and they opened up the fishing for us. But when they opened up the fishing for us, we couldn't fish because the water is too high. When the water is so high, the drift is coming down. We had a lot of drift and the water stayed high. I think this is the highest I ever seen it in my life, the whole summer.
Erosion is the gradual movement of soil and rocks that is typically caused by wind or water. And on rivers, you see this all the time. You often see on one side of a river bend, there's a cut bank on the outside, and then on the inside of the river bend, there's a sandbar. And so the water is flowing faster on the outside, causing erosion and causing sort of a steep wall. And then it's slower on the inside. So any sediment flowing in the water slows down and gets deposited, creating a sandbar.
I lived in the Muklak Slough right there and all my life. And this summer it had its own current. It was so strong coming down, had its own current there, so it started taking away the bank. So I went down and I cut the grass and I let our chief know, the bank is cutting away. What can we do to help it? Because it's been there for thousands of years. If it starts cutting away, that's where we park our boats. The cars come up. And I noticed the current there this spring, cutting the bank away, and the permafrost is melting, so the road the access road that the people used to go to their boats, it sunk about maybe 1.5 feet. This went down. So I noticed that this year too, so I mentioned maybe we should put some gravel there.
We were subcontracted out to telecom. They needed 2 laborers, a sawyer and a laborer, to cut out the line of sight for the internet. So they trained me on how to use that drone, and I went through and I flew from the airport to the school with the drone and marked out all the trees on the GPS, and we went back and cut down all those trees. So they got a good line of sight.
My role in the community is the construction manager. I'm basically trying to help build Nulato back. We get nice aerial footage of our construction, and like I said, looking for plots or aerial views of where the building could go or where we could have a new building site without having to walk there, cut everything down. We can just see right above head the site drainage where everything's coming down right here and where it was running down the driveway, where we needed to reinforce basically all around here and do a cutaway for our swale here and maybe do a retaining wall here. It's a lot easier having that bird's eye view now that we can just see everywhere the water's running.
The biggest thing I notice is a lot of houses are shifting and everything, and when you dig a hole, there's no permafrost.
Erosion control, it's obvious because you can see it right outside the village from the river eroding the land. Land is being eaten away. If you had a drone, you possibly could go further upriver or downriver and see. You can probably decide where you could, for instance, build a stream barb to stop the erosion.
In front of town, there's a huge sandbar now that runs all the way down to the Nulato River. At the lower landing, we used to park our boat down there below my grandpa's house. There was a long gravel road that went out to the river, and you can't get to there no more because of all the mud. There's no more thick ice to push that mud out of the way.
The erosion sites going towards Caltech, I know there's one at 12 Mile. That whole one side of that hill came down. That happened during the 2018 earthquake, I think, in Anchorage. Yeah. And then the recent one was just last fall. That whole side of the mountain at 7 Mile above Caltech came down. We're definitely noticing more landslides.
There's a lot of erosion on the south bank. There's a camp over there that belongs to my uncle Peter Demosky, and he said that, you know, in this last few years, he's had to just bring a ladder over there because the bank's eaten away. He keeps making steps and it just washes away. And it could be too, you know, I always talk with the elders, and Uncle Eddie said that it never used to be this wide, the river right here. He said, you're gonna see in your lifetime, it's gonna get wider.
The past couple of years, we've had high water all spring long. It's because of the amount of snow, and it snowed later in the spring, you know, when everything started thawing and everything, it just dumped on us and the water was high everywhere. There'd be years when there'd be no water, and then there'd be years when there'd be high water the whole year. And those years are rough on fishing.
The water's changed. The Nulato River's definitely changed. It's a lot different. It used to be full of fish, a lot of salmon, and you could just throw your hook in, catch a grayling, just any time of the day. Now it's a lot different.
We did a lot of subsistence harvesting, you know, fishing, hunting, gathering. I participated in the song and dance at home in Caltech, and here also, yeah. That's basically our life.
I was born and raised in the fish camp. Grandmother, she's the one that always got us stay encamped. Well, that's the only way they used to put away food, you know.
We had a chore to do to accommodate us and live for every season that we were faced with. When we trapped, we also hunted. Spring and summer was the biggest ones because we hunted our geese and ducks. Then we got our spring moose. And the moose, it was dried. Everything was dried. So that in the entire summer, we never had fresh moose meat, or any kind of meat for that matter, except the salted ducks and geese and muskrats that we barreled. That was the only meat source. All we lived on in the summer was fish. Fish, fish, fish.
Summertime work at fish. Mama work at fish like this. That's how I'm just addicted to fishing. And these are all dog salmon. And these ones are pikes. We never waste fish because it's too hard to get it nowadays. They're going to starve us pretty soon. Fishing is, I really don't know how the fishing turned out to be if we were still using fish weed with all these sandbars coming up. That make a lot of blockage here and there, you know. A lot of sandbars building up. All over on the river, where it never used to be.
The waves and hitting the south bank, and it was eroding, and a lot of trees were falling in the river, and it was just filling our nets up. We left our net in for 2 days, and we're like, forget this. We had to just pull it because there was too much sticks in there and trees, like literally trees in our net. Usually we have a tub full of fish, but we had a tub full of sticks and trees, and I was just like, nope, pull that net, Joey.
There's a lot of areas that are changing with stream flow, with the amount of overwintering habitat, stream bed depth. And so it would be really nice to use drones to do mapping at certain times of the year to see where those open water spots are. And that would give you an indication of, okay, there's water coming in, you have a spring that keeps that water a certain temperature, which is conducive to salmon spawning. That's good salmon habitat.
I never had ever flown a drone before, and it was fun because they let me take it everywhere. I flew it all the way from the airport back here, and then I flew it back in Nulato River. It had a tremendous range. And oh yeah, we seen a bunch of moose, some bears back in Nulato River, and yeah, it was fun.
So when you talk of changes, it went from a nomadic to being a leader of some profession somewhere in the world. It's quite a vast array of area and topics. I can go on the different things that these people have accomplished, and they all started at the hallways of that classroom. So these kids have to learn from their educators in that school building, and then work with their dream on going on to being whatever they are today.